just want to condolences to the Madden family. Obviously, the Hall of Fame coach, broadcaster, EA Sports Madden game obviously meant a lot to this game and meant a lot to us as coaches with what he represented and what he portrayed as a coach and as a human being. He'll be missed, and a big part of this game was John Madden. I know for me, coming through this business, he'll be sorely missed.
All right, we'll start with John. John?
Yeah, David, I don't know if you've already answered the question because I couldn't hear. Did you get asked yet about Madden?
Yes, I just made a statement about it. Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me ask you another question. Can you remember when you were growing up, the first time you heard of Madden and what you thought about him, and then what your feelings were as you saw him as a broadcaster especially?
Well, I hope nobody gets mad at me, but as I was growing up, I was an Oakland Raider fan all the way back to when he was coaching there, and always have been. I love what they were all about. I mean, he carried himself that way. And then once he retired from coaching, obviously after I think he only coached about 10 years in the game, he went into broadcasting, and in the broadcasting, he became a must-see on Monday Night Football. And anytime he was announcing, is that, he was just as important to hear what he had to say as much so than watching the game. But he was a big influence, and I love.
The other day you said that, with Davis Mills, he's very mature for a young quarterback. What, you've seen that make him mature? How does he act in ways that you've seen specifically?
His composure, Brooks. He never gets rattled. He has that calm demeanor about him. He's always thinking about things, and he's always learning. And that's the big thing that I've seen has been so consistent with him is just the way he carries himself, the way he wants to learn, the way he doesn't let highs and lows. He doesn't go through highs and lows even as a player. He doesn't go through highs and lows even as a person when you're around him. He seems to be the same guy all the time, and I've seen him that way as a player here.
In what ways has he sought out to learn from you and others?
Well, he's always first of all, he watches film unbelievably, and I think he got that from Tyrod, just the way Tyrod had prepared, and he's seen how that happens, and he's always in there. He's always asking questions. He's always wanting to know about why they do certain things on defense. Why we're doing certain things on offense. He always has a why for everything that we're doing because he wants to know exactly what the adjustments are going to be. Why we're doing certain things, and that's where I see a lot in him.
Aaron Wilson.
Hey, good morning, David.
Good morning.
David, you might have a clash of rookie quarterbacks here again. What do you guys do as you prepare for Trey Lance, and what do you think about this matchup as these guys, be under center for their two teams?
Well, to me, we don't look at it as being about our guy and their guy. We look at it as being about the 49ers. And what we will do, though, Aaron, is we'll go back and look during the preseason when Trey played quite a bit and kind of look and see if they did things any differently. But I do know Kyle's offense has been the same through his whole career as a coordinator. And obviously they're going to run what they run, and they'll use, with what they feel like is best, that he does best for them.
David, under the modified protocols and the amount of time that you guys have had some guys be on the COVID list, do you expect several back today that have been back in the building that have been able to test negative or have had enough time? And who are some of those guys that you expect to get back to practice today? Thank you.
I don't know exactly who they are going to be. Depends on we're still doing testing. but we do expect some of those guys back. I don't know the exact number or some of those guys back.
John?
David, D'Amico Ryan's in his first year as the 49ers defensive coordinator, and they're playing really well on that side of the ball. When you're going up against a first-time play caller, how do you handle that situation, not knowing what the tendencies would be?
Well, the thing about them is they've been pretty consistently all year long about how they do things. We do know this about them, John, that they're one of the least teams in the league at blitzing and those kind of things. But what they do is they keep the ball in front. They play good team defense. I know he's been influenced by a couple of guys that were on that staff before that are now head coaches. Is now head coach, but they're basically just playing the defense the way they've. We just expect this to what we've been seeing on video for him to do the same thing.
Cody?
Morning, Coach.
Good morning, Cody.
At the beginning of the season, Brevin Jordan was a healthy scratch for 7 games. Now he has established himself as an important piece to the Texans offense. Can you just talk about how important it is for a rookie just to not jump in and play right away, but actually take the moment and just learn the game from afar? Even the same thing like you just finished talking about with David Smith.
He didn't really know what he didn't know, and he was learning. And he's watched some veteran guys in front of him that got 3 of them in front of him that, basically pros that does things the right way. And he's actually just kind of waited his turn. But I tell you what he did the whole time in practice. He practiced as if someday he was going to have that opportunity. He did a lot of stuff on our show team, did very well. And then as the year went along and, you started to see him getting a little bit better. You started to see him get a bit more comfortable. And then obviously the opportunity presented itself for him to play, and he's taken advantage of that and done a very good job.
Mark?
David, your guy, Tavier Thomas, named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. What does it mean you see him get some accolades and some notoriety?
Mark, I could barely hear you.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, I do.
Okay. What does it mean to you to be named AFC Defensive Player of the Week, get some notoriety from what he did this past Sunday?
Well, I'll tell you what, very well deserving. Not only did he get the pick 6, but he played very well defensively for us. He led our team in tackles. He was around the
Brooks?
David, you were talking about John Madden's influence on you as a coach over the past several decades. How have you seen players in the NFL and his influence on them at all?
Well, the thing about him was this, is that he was, I wouldn't know if you would call him a player's coach, but I do know this. He was, if I remember correctly, I knew some guys that kind of played for him and coached with him. And, he was more or less like he loved his players. And on the field, off the field, I mean, they knew he had their back, and he was just one of those guys. And I know story about Darryl Stingley, and there's been others that's John Madden. I mean, he was more than just a great football coach in this league. He was a great human being. Humanitarian. I mean, he was just a guy that loved all of his players and loved everything about this game.
Matt?
David, just wondering if you comment on your wide receiver situation. How you think, those guys really stepped up with Brandon Cooks out. Will Brandon be back? And how about your other guys?
We're hoping Brandon will be back this week. We anticipate him being back. Those guys, again, because of guys like Brandon, because of the way he's been as a leader on his football team, those young guys, and plus, Chris Culley, Chris Moore, Dorsett, those guys that have come in here, man, those guys are all pros. And they know that obviously when their opportunity comes up to be able to play, that they know what's expected of them. And with Brandon's leadership all year long, I think it just helped those guys become what they were and be able to go out and play the way they played for us and help us win football games.
John?
David, what does it say about Mills that he is the highest rated quarterback in getting the red zone more? What does that say about his decision making and playing close to
Well,
the goal line.
Well, I agree with one thing you said. We do need to get in the red zone more. And I'd like to think that if we get in the red zone more and he's still taking care of the football, which is what he's been doing, John, that, that just speaks for it. I think more than anything, that speaks for when we do get down there. Tim and our offensive staff has done a really good job of being able to attack what they do down there. Obviously, the field gets shrunk. Things happen much quicker. And, with a rookie quarterback, things happening quicker down there. It's very important that you make good decisions. And he's done a good job of doing that and did a really good.
Last one for Aaron Wilson.
David, when you look at Nick Bosa and what it takes to get him blocked, and you've already seen Aaron Donald this year, what do you see from Nick as a blocking assignment for your guys, whichever offensive lineman you have out there?
Well, you got to account for him, Aaron. You got to account for him every play. I mean, he's one of the most disrupted players in this league on defense. I think he has 15 sacks. He leads the league behind the line of scrimmage. He's just a great player, and we're going to account for him. And obviously, we'll have a plan to be able to take care of him and not let him wreck the game for us.
Thank you, Coach.
You're welcome.